Hi, I'm Marty Nemco. This is another of my fictional short stories. This one is called A Retiree, Episode 1, Girls Basketball. I watched the movie About Schmidt 3 times because I am him. I worked for an insurance company for 38 years, and on my last day in my office, staring at the clock's hand tick toward 5 o'clock. But before long, I was wishing I had my job back. Structure, money, meaning. I know, businesses, especially in insurance, are portrayed as meaningless or worse, but I liked it, even though I was a mere manager in the accounting department. I married when I was young, but after infatuation's fog lifted, what was clear was that I wasn't meant to be married. In a word, I'm too wimpy, and my wife taking me to the cleaners in a divorce reminded me of that. So what was I going to do in my retirement? I wasn't obviously going to spend it gallivanting with a wife and playing with grandkids. I will continue my weekly poker game, even though I usually lose, maybe because I'm too timid. I'm embarrassed to say that part of why I like the poker game is the food, stuff I won't let myself eat at home, like chips and dip and soda. But poker isn't enough, obviously. What else could I do in retirement? I knew I wanted something completely different from insurance. I like walking around, and just a couple of blocks from my place is the Boys and Girls Club. I wandered in, saw a surprisingly fancy gymnasium, complete with glass backboards, shiny parquet floor, even an electronic scoreboard. I thought, as a kid, I would have killed to play in a gym like that, rather than outdoors in the schoolyard with no net on the basket. Then a woman startled me out of my reverie. "Can I help you?" I was embarrassed and I had to say something, so I just said, "I don't know, I'm retired." And she said, "Actually, the coach of our 12-year-old girls basketball team just went up and quit. You want to coach? There's only one game left. It's tomorrow. I just need a fill-in. The pay is 0, and the girls are, let's just say, challenging, especially one of them, and their record is 1 win, 8 losses. I replied, "I'm sorry, but I've never coached. I've never even played full-court basketball. I only played half-court in the schoolyard, mainly by myself." Before I could say no, she said, "You'll do. I'll get you a whistle. That's all you need. A few basketballs are always sitting out here." And maybe because she didn't want to give me the time to say no, she just strutted out. I had my first post-retirement activity. I knew that John Wooden was a famous basketball coach, so I Googled him. His big message to coaches? Don't talk about winning and losing. Just talk about preparing to be your best. For specifics, I Googled coaching middle school basketball and found this series of videos, top 10 basketball drills for middle school teams. I decided 10 was too many, so I ignored the shooting drills. I figured that kids will practice shooting on their own. I focused on defense and passing drills. But I sure was nervous when I walked into the gym for the practice. There was only one practice before the game. And I got more nervous when I saw that I was the only white guy, and of course the only guy. There were 6 girls, one who is taller than I am. They acted like they didn't even know I was there. They just kept playing around with the balls. 2 of them were firing the ball at each other, looking like they were trying to hurt each other. After a moment to take it all in, grateful I had the whistle, I blew it, softly. I didn't want to seem authoritarian. One kid sauntered over to me, but the rest kept playing. Maybe they were testing me, or just maybe they didn't hear the whistle, so I blew it louder. That worked, sort of. All of them stopped, except the tall one. She was circling the ball around her waist like the Harlem Globetrotters do. I didn't want to blow the whistle again, so I just gave her a schoolmarmy look, but she continued to play. I'm not a yeller, so I walked over to her and looked up at her, but she just stared back at me. I felt even smaller. I couldn't force her, so I just shook my head and started back to the others, whereupon she seethed, "Why are you shaking your head about me?" I'm soft-spoken, but I spoke louder so she could hear me when I was talking to the others. I said that I was just there to fill in for the last game, and then I lied. I told them I was an experienced coach. I had to somehow gain their trust, and on the spot I couldn't think of a better way to do it. I also wanted to inspire them, so I invoked my inner John Wooden, although I'm sure I said it less confidently. "Whether we win or not, you're going to be proud of how you played." Their faces seemed to soften, except for the tall girl who smirked. I didn't want to embarrass her in front of the other kids, but I knew she could make things hard, so I just called over, "Hey, may I ask your name?" She sniffed. "Kenesha, what's it to you?" I said, "Kenesha, may I speak with you a moment in private?" She imitated my white voice, sarcastically repeating what I just said. "Kenesha, may I speak with you a moment in private?" I tried that schoolmarmy look again and waved her over. To my relief, she walked. Okay, she ambled over. I said, "Kenesha, you are clearly somebody who can handle a basketball, and I sense that you're a leader. I'm guessing that you're key to the team doing well tomorrow. I need your help." I didn't wait for an answer. I just patted her on the shoulder and walked back to the group. And this time she followed, and without the swagger. I explained the first drill, slowly. I didn't want anyone embarrassed that they didn't get it. We get in a circle and pass the ball, crisply but nicely, to anyone you want. I smiled so they didn't think I was too critical. As I had hoped, they got better. That the final game of a season, as are most final games, against the nearby rival. Well, the score is tied at halftime. I wanted to write to you during halftime in case we lose. I do know that if they'll let me, I am going to coach him again next season. But there's still too much empty space in my days. I can only sip coffee, read, watch TV, and walk so much. I do know I shouldn't be so wimpy, with the players and in life. In any event, that is a Retiree, Episode 1, Girls Basketball. As usual, I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. And certainly would welcome you taking a look at any of my 35 books. Perhaps most relevant is Senior Stories, but all 35 are on Amazon. In any event, I thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko.